Hello YouTube! I am Pinstar, and this is Lethis Path of Progress Strategy and Tactics Quick Tip Episode 5. So, in this episode we are going to be covering Steam. Yes, the I don't want to say gimmick, but the unique quirk of Lethis, being a Victorian steampunk universe, is the fact that everything in its mother is steam powered, and this world is no exception. Now, in the last one I kind of poo-pooed mining your own copper just for utensils. That being said, I'm finding that the rate of importation, that 1,200 a year, not nearly enough. We got a couple of our houses upgraded to the next level, and they are starting to ask for an herbalist, so I will get into that in this episode as well. But we need to turn our attention to making our own stuff for maps that have that. Not every map will, but presumably maps that don't have the ability to produce your own stuff, you'll have enough trade routes and capacity of trade routes to import enough for what you need. So that being said, Steam. In order to start mining your own stuff, and I've already set up my mines over here. I've got 2 coppers and 2 irons over here, and a little blocked off engineering hub to keep them all nice and safe. They're not going to do anything until we give them some condensed steam, and the only way to make condensed steam is with your steam condenser, and you're only allowed to build 1 of these per city. So you need to be very mindful of where you put it, because it's going to be kind of important to more than just your stuff. Now, what I like to do is I like to put it near the geysers, because you're going to have to run piping from the geysers to the steam condenser anyway, and the less piping you need to run, the less likely you are to run into logistical issues when trying to deliver steam to places that you want to go. So I'm going to go ahead and put it over here, because it's near the steam stuff, and you also want to give yourself plenty of room around the condenser itself, because like I said, it's going to be a pretty busy building. But that being said, you also don't want to put it out in the middle of nowhere. Now, at the moment, this is the middle of nowhere, because I don't even have a bridge to this little island, but I will be remedying that. Now, time to throw another ratio at you. 1 steam extractor hooked up to your condenser can produce enough condensed steam capsules to power 4 buildings that require steam. So 1 extractor feeding into this condenser, the condenser will spit out enough things to keep all 4 of these mines happy. Once everything gets up to speed here. So once we start getting more steam stuff, we're going to need more extractors. Now, your 1 condenser can handle pretty much unlimited amounts of extractors as long as you all feed them into the piping. That's why you want this close to here, so that there isn't too much piping. But that being said, the condenser is also a building that can collapse, so you also need to have access to it so that your workers can actually get the condensed steam out of it. So you kind of need to make a little industrial outpost wherever you decide to place this. In this particular case, I'm going to set up a little bridge over here. No, that's not so good. Come on, game, work with me. Work with me. That's kind of working with me, but I'll take it. Not the most ideal, but I'll live. I'll live. Here, we'll go out from here. Get those here. Let me just make sure this line here is all... Oop, don't want to roadblock the actual corner. That would cause problems. This is a tricky... Yeah, I roadblocked the actual thing. Hang on, let me... one thing, if your buildings are in the way... yeah, there you go. Just go into the overlay mode. That will flatten them all, and you can see exactly where you're working. So I'm going to put these here just to make sure that the theater doesn't spawn a walker on the wrong side of the roadblock here, and that it dumps it off properly at this little corner over here. Did the same thing over here, as you can see. Okay, so let me just wrap our little road over here. Actually, before you wrap roads, wrap your roads first and then do your piping. Could probably just run this straight through here if we wanted to. Yeah, that seems to work just fine. Now, a little tip here. You have to plug the extractor into one of the 4 ports here in the condenser. It doesn't matter which one. Now, the pipes will interact with the roads if you have the roads down first. So if we go here to our steam here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to have it go underneath here. And now it doesn't look like it at first, but now this piping will actually dive underneath the road automatically, and people can walk over this little sewer steam grate thing here without any issues. So that's one way to keep the stuff flowing quite nicely. Now in this case, what I'm going to want to do is I'm going to wrap it around here just to give a little bit more surface area, because there's a couple of things we want to do here. One, we want ourselves a warehouse, because we're going to want to, it's usually the most efficient to store your condensed steam right here next to the condenser, especially once you start having more than one thing using it. So I will accept condensed steam, but again, might as well be efficient with this. So I'm going to 50-50 this. Now I've already got a warehouse that's accepting copper, so that copper that we're going to start mining is going to have a home already. But we're also going to start mining iron. So let's also accept the iron and have the iron make its way down here. We'll get into using the iron in due time. Now, of course, we cannot forget our good friend, the maintenance here. And of course, we can't forget our good friend, the roadblock. So now this will just keep bouncing back and forth to here and here, and that should keep everything nice and hunky-dory here. So yeah, this thing is cranking out. This thing is starting to produce itself. It does use quite a bit of employees, well, 20 in this particular case, plus the that to extract it. Now, while that is cooking, let me turn our attention to upgrading our houses here a little bit more. Needs medicine from the herbalist. Well, we've already built our herbalists here. That's the theater. That's the herbalist. So we will turn them on. But we need to supply them with herbs. Now, one more ratio to throw at you here. Supplying herbalists with herbs is ridiculously easy. All you need is a greenhouse, and not only do you not need to worry about where you put it, you don't need to put your greenhouse in fertile soil. You can place it wherever the heck you want, really. So pretty much we're going to just find a place that's already covered by engineers and plop it there. I'll put it right here. That should be fine. The other nice thing is one greenhouse can supply 2 herbalists. So this one greenhouse will be at full capacity and keeping everyone nice and happy. Rather than building a whole nother warehouse, because the herbs are a warehouse good, I'm gonna have this place accepted, especially since we're not really stockpiling stuff up too heavily. That's ornaments. I'm still learning all the icons here. No, that's Fey. Okay, here's the medicinal herbs. So we'll have the medicinal herbs here, and we'll reduce it to 4,000. I know there's 3 things of 4,000. It can only hold 8,000, but we're really not maxing out this warehouse, and we've been chewing through that backlog of flour with that 5th bakery quite nicely. So that's doing well for us there. So now this greenhouse is going to start making herbs. It'll put the herbs here. The herbs will then get grabbed by the 2 herbalists, who will then start to distribute it in our housing network. And that should allow our level 7 houses to get themselves up to level 8. Meanwhile, we are getting deliveries of steam to our mines, and our mines are going to start producing their iron and copper here. So that should get our utensil production here going a little bit more swiftly. Alright, so in our next episode, we're going to get our worker houses all the way up to level 10, and we're going to start on the bourgeois. We're going to work on automatons, bourgeois, and other higher level gameplay aspects. So stay tuned. It should be a fun one. So if you like this episode and want to see more like it, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, leave me a comment. You know the drill, people. So until next time, this has been Pinstar, signing out. See ya!